Well, hello everyone and welcome back to the Tom Colohue channels. Today we are watching good old-fashioned Smackdown. We are lay off the smack of down, I think, and checking out a show which will feature Roman Reigns. The Usos defending their tag team championships. Roman is already on his way down. And they're building even further. Next week we got Gunther versus Sheamus again. There is wrestling happening, guys. There is wrestling happening, and quite a lot of it. We've seen a lot of Bayley, which everyone's always very happy about, for very good reasons. I mean, it's Bayley. That's new. The Bloodline literally has a family tree, which does not feature Sami Zayn. Welcome, Connor. How you doing, mate? Welcome, Raymond. How is everybody? Connor, I believe you were bleeding on a clock tower earlier today. Thomas says, hi, Tom. Did you see the promo package before SmackDown tonight that BT Sport played? I only really watched the tag team match that was on before. I wasn't that focused. Jarrett says, hello, Tom. Hope you're doing well. Doing very, very well. Very well. Thank you, Connor, for clarification. It is not next week. It's in 2 weeks. It's the go-home show. It is the go-home show. So they're getting the IC Championship before it. The Bloodline is massive. There are a lot of people there. Telling that everyone is wearing a new t-shirt apart from Sami, who's still wearing the old one. Bailey says, what is the optimal size for a faction? I think 4 or 5 for me is the ideal size for a faction. Think the Nation of Domination. There's a point at which it was too big. Eric Douglas says, hi Tom, how you doing? Doing very well, thank you, Eric. Glad you're here. Welcome to the show. And Thomas says, before that there was a hype package for Sasha Banks. I'm aware that they're playing hype packages for Sasha Banks. There may or may not be a reason for that. I have no comment on the matter. I think at this point I've said everything I really want to say on the topic. Hello Sean, hello Simon. Not a fan of Roman as champion, is Simon. Personally, I do think it's overdone itself. It's overstayed its welcome. Though at the same time, the Bloodline, very, very good. Connor says, I ordered myself a Roman top the other week, still waiting for it to come. Yeah, they seem like they're taking forever. Sorry, Roman was doing that thing of his eyes again. Roman needs to play the same character that The Rock played in Jumanji. He needs to have a character that is able to smoulder. I don't feel I need to explain it further. Eric says, how are your girlfriends, kids? Very, very well. Very well. Took them to their open evening for school on Wednesday, and it was one of the best days of my life. Great time. We are immediately getting clips of Paul Heyman speaking with Logan Paul. Logan Paul not believed to be likely to be there this week. But I'm waiting to see if he's actually there or not. Imagine being in that press conference crowd. It just seems unnecessary. We are promoting Crown Jewel already. The main event, Roman Reigns and Logan Paul. Well, greetings, Megan. How are you? Raymond says the Bloodline is looking very imposing. They are, though the size of them is still a little unnecessary for me. Simon says, much agreed, Tom. Sammy is fantastic, along with MJF. Quite similar characters in the end, though one is a bit more flamboyant and energetic. Stuart says this should be a giggle, take the pee out of Logan time. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we're about to get. Build for the main event, which is looking to be the tag team championship match, naturally, but the focus is very much on Crown Jewel. Hector says those new shirts are pretty nice looking, simple, and to that point I don't like the old ones with all the members on it. It was a bit too much, and I think at this point there's just too many of them to fit them all on a shirt. Naturally, Solo Sikoa no longer has his championship, so he's just sort of holding up a finger. He's learned which is the right finger to put up now, which is good. Simon's favourite faction of all time is the Shield. I was a DX guy. Kieran says, I haven't watched The Rock's Jumanji yet. I don't want it to ruin my love for the original. It doesn't. What I will say is that there are references to the original that show they're actually in the same verse, the same universe as it were. So it respects the original. Connor says I bought the Edge Tarot top. Tarot? Tarot? As in tarot cards. And the Acknowledge Your Daddy top. I mean, there is no downside to an Acknowledge Your Daddy top. I mean, they call him Papa H, but Daddy's Daddy. Eric says, can you see Roman playing Fast and the Furious? He was in one of those, wasn't he? He already was. Megan says, doing okay. Getting back into streaming again, which has been nice. Finished my first week on medication for my depression. Hopefully it's starting to level out a little bit, because I know that they can take a while. Fingers crossed for you, Megan. I hope you're alright. Bailey says there was a question earlier today on Charlotte. Was it ever disclosed what is the source of the ill will between her and Becky outside of the ring? It wasn't technically outside of the ring. It was certain promos from Becky Lynch against Charlotte Flair. Quite similar to the Hangman CM Punk situation. Eric says if Lacey wins, Lacey will be taking on Liv Morgan today. Can you see her getting added to the championship match at Extreme Rules? Yes, but I don't see her winning. Roman with an immediate cheap pop. Sami Zayn really enjoying life right now. Taro, got it, Connor. We acknowledge Roman in this house. We do acknowledge our tribal chief. Paul Heyman with the wrong hand this time. What is going on, people? What's going on? Raymond says, I love Solo in the Bloodline. His look and attitude fits perfectly. Clock ticking on Sami. Unfortunately, yes. Khalid, welcome. Now, before I read that, I want your source on this. Because I heard, don't fly here. We take great pride in being the most well-informed wrestling chat that there is. So you source your information, and I'll tell you whether it's worth paying attention to. If it's your Uncle Mike, the answer's going to be a no on that one. If it's some guy on Twitter, the answer's going to be a no on that one. I'm not aware of Bray Wyatt being backstage. Paul Heyman getting some hate. I don't think that'll last. It's Paul Heyman. He'll turn him round. I see a needle mover shirt behind Roman. It's funny how all of the Bloodline shirts have moved on so quickly. I think everyone will be waiting for 9:23 or here in the UK 2:23 in the morning to see what actually happens there. I got to be honest, probably not much. It's a Roman put over. Not a surprise, really. I notice you're not giving me the source there, Khalid. I notice you've just tried to move on. Again, not going to fly here. Not going to fly. Kieran says, what's this 9:23? Haven't seen anything about it. There was a QR code which a fan, plant, carried across the crowd in Raw. And when people went to the site that it took them to, it was related to, well, that number, essentially. A lot of people do think it's Bray Wyatt related. Bray Wyatt is a very different character. The fans are already turned around on Paul Heyman. They don't know how to handle it. They just love him too much, and I kind of get it. He is the man. No worries, Khalid. Just wanted to explain that so you know the situation. Connor says, I believe it was Bray's brother's uncle's sister, dog, friend, owners have said it. Well, his nephew's cousin's former roommate. But what does that make us? Absolutely nothing. Evening, Si. Si says, evening, Tom and all. Hope everyone's good. Will do my best to stay awake for this one. I wish you the best of luck, sir, but I will understand if it's an unachievable target. Kieran says, I must have missed that. Really cool if it does relate to something. It's definitely something I would describe as an Easter egg. I can't sit here and say it's relative to anything particularly large, as it were. Not at this point. Hector says, Tom, with Roman being as over as he is in your opinion, who do you think had a better career turnaround? Roman's previous character to his current character or Rocky Maivia to The Rock? Roman, no question. The Rock turned it all around in 2 years. In 2 years, he became the man. Roman, it took a lot longer. And yeah, he had to earn it vary a few more bits of blood through. Sean says, so a lot of fans saying back at Crown Jewel since Drew lost, they won't go back if WWE comes back to the UK. A lot of people will say that. Funnily enough, when we come back to the UK, what you're going to see is a lot of people buying tickets. Khalid acknowledges the tribal chief. Roman Reigns and Jarrett has caught the Spaceballs reference, and I'm very happy that you did. The joke about capturing their stunt doubles will live with me till the end of time. Kieran says the Usos should give Sami and Solo one of the tag team titles, in my opinion. Well, I'm not just going to give it away, are they? They're not just going to hand away the championships. They've worked for them. They've worked hard. Eric is asking my favourite soccer team. I don't have a favourite soccer team, but my favourite football team is Liverpool. They're the ones that I follow most heavily, as it were. He's Solo. He's Han Solo. Han Solo. Roman is just basking in this moment. Khalid says, are you ready for Survivor Series War Games? No, and that's okay. I'm not ready for it yet, but I don't have to be. We can wait. Connor says, Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, thank you for sourcing, has said Easter eggs are going to be staying a thing in WWE with Trips in charge. Have you heard about this? Yes, and in fact I covered it at length on Monday, spoiler warning. Triple H does have a thing for this and really likes to add those teases. Ultimately, the White Rabbit is carrying Kross, but the White Rabbit is also absolutely no one, and I still suspect that Mustafa Ali is involved in this based on how it's playing out. Sean says, do the Usos lose the belts before they hit 2 years? Great question. Hell if I know. Khalid says, are you streaming Extreme Rules? I will be. Yes, we will be doing a live show for Extreme Rules. Roman has something to say. Roman chant from the crowd, not the strongest, but still strong. Roman has something to say to Solo, who has not really dealt with Drew McIntyre as he should have. Kieran wants to know where the Usos get their trousers from. Go ask him. Let's pop into the ring now. Connor's an Easter egg fan. And Raymond says, Roman cut Jay off. Interesting. Well, I have been talking about the potential for Jay to be the one getting kicked out instead. Roman is essentially claiming Solo. This is kind of the first time Roman and Solo have actually been in the ring together. We've not seen much of them so far as a unit. Always acknowledge. Never play around. Just do as you're told. Hector says the way they presented Solo Sikoa so far is a perfect way to introduce him to the main roster. The fans who don't watch NXT. Feels like a badass and big deal. I'm here for it. I agree. Sammy. Oh, Sammy. I was waiting to see some jealousy and... Oh, he's got a microphone. Oh, Sammy. No, Sammy. Oh, Sammy. No. No. Oh, Sammy. He's going to come back to bite you. Eric says, I still remember him doing the James and Giant Peach to Big Show. I remember him suffering succotash. No, Connor. This is actually just juice. It's blackcurrant. Paul Heyman is trying to stop this from happening. Jey Uso looks pissed. Khalid says, when do you see Becky Lynch returning to WWE? Soon. She's training again. She's fighting fit. She should be cleared around about the end of the year, beginning of next year. Sammy wants a hug. Sammy just wants a hug. Just give him a hug. Just give the man a hug. Roman, it's worth it. It'll be worth it. He's been valuable to you. Give the man a hug. I just want to see you give the man a hug. It's not a big ask. He's a good man. Give him a hug. Another Sammy chant. The crowd have made their choice. Raymond thinks this is the end here for Sammy. He just wants Roman to touch him. In that very special way that Roman touches his own family. Roman does like him, that's a proven fact. He's not going to do it. Oh, Roman is essentially re-healing at this point. Sammy, just walk away, Sammy. Oh. This is awkward. I feel so much for this man right now. Jey Uso pacing back and forth is terrifying. Khalid wants to see Braun Strowman win tonight. He will, no question. Says, when YouTube said you were live, I got so happy. Well, good to know. I'm live for another hour and 45 minutes. He's not kidding. Take the shirt off. Sammy, Shut off. Just do as you're told. Walk away. Eric says, I still remember Roman reading James and Giant Peach. I did already read that, Eric. This is a painful watch. Jimmy seems a little bit torn. Genuinely doesn't seem sure of himself. Solo's not really claiming anything. Jay's going for it. Jay is going for it. Khalid, watch the show. It'll answer the question, I'm sure. Jay's been waiting for that. I'd kind of love that, Connor. I don't see it happening, but I would kind of love it. In fact, no, this is starting to lean in that direction. Oh, there's emotion in those eyes. So much of it. That is exactly where they're going. Oh, I'm going to cry. I'm actually going to cry. An honorary Uce shirt. Jay's still not sure, but look how happy Jimmy is. That's why he was so solid. He knew it was good. That is really well. Oh, the zoom on Jay. There is so much good stuff happening right now. The crowd are loving it. I still kind of expect a spear to be coming. Oh, what the hell? What are you doing? Okay. Awkward moment with Jay. Yep, normal. He's still got the shirt stuck around his foot. Give him a hug. Okay, that's awkward. Should have waited. Should have waited. Should have waited. I think Roman's going to let it happen. Oh, he's hugging him back. Oh, I feel so good right now. This is a feel-good story of the century right here. I don't know why I love that so much, but it's just... That is a hell of a story. You did call it. You're absolutely right. Sammy loves it. He loves his new shirt. He wants you to know that. Well, that was awesome. I very much enjoyed that. I'm immediately jumping on Twitter. And I'm immediately saying that was the best SmackDown opening ever. Sami Zayn just tugged every heartstring that I have. What a beautiful moment. Oh, I just feel so much right now. Thomas says this is amazing. Connor says everyone loves it except Jay, who just wants to super kick Sami, which is absolutely true. You can see it in his eyes. There is something he wants to tell him. You can see it in his eyes. Patrick says this Sami story is so great. When he gets turned on, it's going to mean something. Oh, it will. Oh, it will. Kieran actually felt bad for Sami. Bailey says this is a well-written story. The eventual ending will be painful, but the setup is great. It really is. Oh. Megan loved it. Great from everyone. Thomas says, is it bad that I want Sami to be the one to beat Roman now? I've wanted that for a little while, to be honest, but the fact that they're getting so close. Like, Roman genuinely likes Sami. That's been very clear. They've not hidden that. Stuart says, wonder how many of those shirts will get sold. Sami Zayn has not had a great run of t-shirt options. I gotta be honest. That one's gonna fly. Hector says, anyone who doesn't think this Sami storyline isn't the... So who doesn't think it isn't the best storyline in all professional wrestling is lying to themselves, so you don't like it. Jermaine says, hi Tom. Jay was so excited he thought they were finally kicking Sami to the curb, but instead Roman gave Sami a new t-shirt. I love this storyline. Jimmy definitely knew. I don't think Jay did, but Jimmy definitely knew. Raymond says this could be the beginning of the end for Sami. Something else is coming. Well, is it going to be big? Is it going to be small? Who can even tell? Well, possibly, Jarrett. It's the best SmackDown opening. Can't say about Spaceballs. Eric says Sami is still in the group. He's not just still in the group. He's been acknowledged by Roman Reigns. Megan says, I hope they take a moment to just enjoy this backstage. Couldn't have asked for a better reaction to the segment. Everyone got everyone got bits of cheers in different sections. Sami obviously got the most, and so he should. But Roman was also cheered as well. Jermaine says, I think the storyline might be Jay is the one who caused the downfall of the Bloodline, not Sami Zayn. I have been talking about that for a little while. Traffic says, damn, I genuinely felt bad for Sami there for a second. Great performance by everyone. He made me very emotional. He really did. Khalid says, do you think Paige will wrestle in AEW? She was signed for that. They'll check her out. If she can wrestle, she will wrestle. Thomas says, you could have the Sami getting kicked out and then becoming the resilient babyface who just won't stay down. That seems the obvious choice of options. Welcome, Justin, London and UK, to this show. Thank you very kindly for subscribing and immediately jumping in and saying Sami versus Jay would be the next big thing since Hulk versus Andre. I won't go that far. But it will be very, very good. I think I'll go that far, but I'll leave it there and say it would be very, very good. Khalid says Roman Reigns will destroy Logan Paul at Crown Jewel. Maybe. Patrick says I love Solo as the enforcer of the Bloodline now. It fits in nicely. Gotcha, Hector. Gotcha. They're announcing the matches for tonight. Braun Strowman will take on Otis. Otis, of course, was looking to try and slam Braun Strowman recently. We'll see if that actually pays off. We're opening with Liv Morgan versus Lacey Evans. Liv has just realised she's on camera. And so has the crowd. Lacey Evans has got the job as entrance. Great start. Sai says, done the right way. I really think Sami Zayn could be a Danielson level face. He can do so much more than comedy. I agree. I actually think Bryan Danielson is the perfect comparison as well. In wrestling style, in charisma, in the urge that you have to root for the guy. We'll see, Kieran. As I say, not cleared at this point in time, but they will definitely be checking her out with a view to doing so. WWE doctors would not clear her under any circumstances. It's why she's not there. Connor says, I could be wrong, correct me if I am, but is Jey Uso the only one in the Bloodline that put up a fight to be in the Bloodline? Yeah, the only one. Justin says, makes sense Solo becoming Intercontinental Champion. Also makes sense him not, because Gunther's a really good champion. And I don't want every championship to be swallowed up in Bloodline. Let's have more than one storyline, shall we? Khalid says, I don't know why Michael Cole always World Strong Slam Mark Henry finisher. Neither do I, mate. Neither do I. Liv Morgan with a very strong sell there. Okay, so very clearly over the next few weeks they're going to try and show that Liv can be extreme. Lacey Evans literally said, you're not extreme. Do you remember the kendo stick on a pole match where Bayley wasn't extreme? I don't like where this is going. Raymond says, Lacey confuses me, bringing her back on TV and not establishing her character again. Yeah, I agree. She's not exactly doing anything different either. She's got new gear and she's a heel again. So she was face, heel, face, heel. She's on SmackDown again, though. That was a real slow run. Yeah, Kelly, I'm pretty sure that Liv Morgan's going to win. It's a match on SmackDown. It's not exactly a very different thing. Connor says, Bayley got the kendo stick but was too scared to use it. Yeah, she was an extreme. What she did there was prove everyone right, which is not what anyone actually wanted to see, but it is what we got. Just a quick reminder, as we go into the, as we end the first half hour, if you're watching on YouTube, please remember to hit like. We currently have 7 likes and 16 viewers, so if we're able to just tweak those numbers ever so slightly, get a few more likes, we may also pick up a few new subscribers. So please consider that if you haven't already. My tweet on Sami Zayn's already got 25 likes. A lot of people happy with this. A lot of people real happy. Right. It's a bit annoying that so far in her matches, Liv Morgan's just not been able to get much offense in. She's just getting regularly beaten up at this point. I'm not really that happy about it. Basically, every match she's had recently, she gets beat up and then she finds a way to escape with the win. This is a slow motion match as well. I don't really like that. Connor says, why does Lacey have camo face paint on? Because she was a Marine, don't you know? And that's her entire character. Thomas says, have Jay been kicked out and then disappears for a couple of months, returns, starts a feud with every member of the Bloodline right until facing Roman, bringing this title run full circle. Again, not the worst idea. I like the idea that maybe Sammy stays and Jay's the one who goes. Jay gets Batista'd with the thumbs down. Stuff like that. Raymond says that they bring in Lacey back strictly to work her in the War Games match. No, they brought her back to wrestle. Khalid says, do I see anybody get involved in Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan? Maybe. I don't know. Hector says, with Triple H in charge of creative, imagine if Sammy eventually has a match with Jay and somehow Sammy becomes unable to compete in said match. Cue El Generico. I feel it's more possible now than with Vince. The reason we never had El Generico was nothing to do with Vince and nothing to do with Triple H, and everything to do with El Generico. El Generico has never been signed for the WWE. He just has other things that he's focusing on right now. He's very, very important to the overall structure and hierarchy of the orphanage that he protects. He's a very busy man. Bailey says Lacey is approaching Aaliyah level at the bottom of the roster. Well, further down than Aaliyah, to be fair. Aaliyah is a former tag team champion. Didn't Vince consider her to be a future champion before the pandemic? Yes, and in fact after the pandemic. He thought Lacey Evans had everything. Wrestling, physique, backstory. Ultimately, all Vince ever wanted was someone that the crowd could chant, USA, USA, USA. All they needed was a nasty foreign heel. Hence why Xia Li was turned heel, so that Lacey Evans could beat her up. Raymond says, is a sympathetic face an effective way to book Liv? It should be. She also has a Daniel Bryan-esque quality. Don't know why it's not working. Connor says, I don't understand how being one thing can be your whole. No, I completely agree. You need more to it for the whole. You know, your whole is a lot of things, and your whole needs protecting. Your whole needs a bit of protecting. Jermaine says, hey Tom, Lacey Evans got the jobber's entrance. I know, but the champion, I think Liv Morgan kind of got a jobber's entrance as well. She certainly didn't get a full entrance, I'll tell you that. Kieran says, Mustafa Ali just retweeted a mysterious tweet from May 11th, 2020. Did he now? Right after spoiler warning, where I said, well, seems like Mustafa Ali's hand is in this, based on what's been going on. Funny that. Funny. Jarrett has just seen a commercial for a Hocus Pocus remake. I believe it's a sequel, isn't it? Like an actual sequel rather than a remake. So, yes and no. Yes and no. First half hour, so far so good. Opening promo, fantastic. Opening match, standard, nothing to write home about, but still quite fun. I mean, the wrestling match is happening, and it's certainly high quality compared to what it could have been. Bailey says, after Liv loses to Ronda, then what? Do you turn her and reunite with Rhea Ripley? No. No, I'd just knock her down the card a bit and have her work her way back up again. Have her take on Lacey Evans one week, Xia Li the next, Dakota Kai the next, work her way back up to Charlotte, beat Charlotte, and then have another go against Ronda. Maybe not win it, but have another go. The options aren't champion or buried. I need people to realise that. The options aren't either you're the champion or you're nobody. That's not the case. If that was the case, what would be the entire point of Seth Rollins? Like, it's been years since Seth Rollins has been a champion. So there are ways in between. Not everybody is buried just because they lose a championship. Raymond wasn't a fan of the first Hocus Pocus. Well, you missed out. Khalid says, do you think we see more vignettes as a White Rabbit? We haven't seen any vignettes as a White Rabbit. There's been no mention on screen of the White Rabbit. None whatsoever. So, no, I don't think we see more vignettes. I don't think we've seen any vignettes. Megan says, am I the only one who's worried that we're getting a Ronda win, a Charlotte return, and those two having yet another meh feud for the rest of the year? Yes, I did mention that as a possibility, and I wasn't happy about it when I did, but unfortunately, it is a possibility. Eric says, I remember you saying Liv might be heel soon. Can you please explain if she's going to be a generic heel or an interesting heel? No. Bailey says, but look what happened to Nikki Cross. She never climbed back up. She was almost immediately after that a tag team champion. It's just that nobody got behind her again afterwards. She was a tag team champion with Rhea Ripley for quite a while, and then eventually had the heel turn. It's not that they never did anything with her, it's that it just didn't connect with anyone. Hector says, as much as I love Bray, he was my favourite wrestler from the day he became Bray. If this White Rabbit thing has anything to do with Mustafa Ali whatsoever, I prefer that. The man is so talented and deserves some kind of storyline besides what's happening now. I agree with that. I think he's a very talented man, and there is a lot more that he could be doing. Kieran says, has Charlotte ever actually wrestled while not being a title picture? Yes, she wrestled Trish Stratus a couple of SummerSlams ago. And that is just off the top of my head. Lacey Evans has herself a kendo stick. Do you remember how I mentioned kendo stick on a pole match a moment ago? May have seen the match listing for this one. So to be clear, Morgan at this point is supposed to be showing that she's extreme. In reality, she's just winning the match. But she's not winning the match because she won the match. She's winning the match because Lacey distracted herself and basically beat herself. Liv deserves a bit better than that. It's not good enough for me. Also then hearing Corey Graves say, I had my doubts about her. That's not helping. Khalid says, I love the two characters of Bray Wyatt. His Funhouse character and the Fiend character. Hope to see him soon. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Who can tell? If you're a regular viewer of Spoiler Warning, you may. Ghost, first off, welcome. Secondly, thank you very much for renewing your subscription on Twitch. Says happy to be here as well. That is a 13th month in a row and a 15th month total. All the way. You just... So many of you are just supporting endlessly. And I'm so happy to see so many of you. So happy. Sean says, buried is one word that is overused. Most don't know what it actually means. Most believe one loss means you're buried. That is not true. Agreed. We are getting this... we are getting a Liv Morgan who is a little bit more extreme, a little bit more angry, and who isn't afraid to use a kendo stick, so she's already ahead of Bailey when she was at that level. The crowd are getting behind it. The crowd are supporting it. I do think it's going to be a good match. Oh, we're going further. You want a crowd to get behind someone, let him have a table. She can't pick it up. There we go. Not really, Khalid. I don't really do anything for Halloween. Last year we had a party. That's where I met Tiny Arms. Raymond says, typical Liv match. Gets beat up 90% of the time. Wins at the end. Gutsy win was said on air. Yep, it's dumb. It's dumb. Kieran says, I know you're a football fan, Tom, but you're a fan of the FIFA game. No, I played Football Manager, and as such, the whole concept for transfers, terrible. FIFA does not do it right. Khalid says, by the way, you're my favourite YouTuber, Tom. I appreciate that. Khalid. Welcome to the show. Glad to see you. Sean, once again, I've been talking about the potential for a Liv Morgan heel turn. Teases of a Liv Morgan heel turn. Right here, this ain't a heel, is it? Right here, this isn't a heel. Eric, yes indeed, Liv has won, and he's going to put Lacey through a table. Missed slightly. Took out the camera on the way. He's doing some... Checked in on Lacey there. Nice and quiet. Shouts out Rhonda. She landed awkwardly there. I'd like to see a replay of that. I'm sure we're going to see like 5 or 6. But that's why she was wrestling Lacey Evans. Okay, this is not the right angle for this. Lands arse first. Her tailbone's going to tell her off in the morning. Oh no, I'm wrong. That's a much better angle. She lands actually on the table, and then that is actually a perfect landing. That is actually a perfect landing. Nice. Okay. Oh, sigh. Such a kidder. Yeah, Kieran, I'm not an Ultimate Team guy. I could not care less. It's just not for me. Raymond says, I thought she was going to overshoot the table and hurt her leg. She was too close to the announce table, I'll tell you that. But hey, she knew her angle. Hit Row backstage wearing the shirt there saying it was all a dream. So they're just getting drunk? Is that what's happening? Street Profits here to get drunk with them. I'm pretty sure that the whole... See the QR code? Was that the phrase, come dine with me? I hope everyone saw that QR code. Hope I'm not the only one. That would be awkward. Same, Connor, same. I used to play Football Manager on stream, on Twitch. Played for about a year. Back when I had no job. And I was playing Football Manager on Tuesdays, I was playing Final Fantasy on Thursdays, and I was doing Spoiler Warning and a Raw and SmackDown watch party. We were doing a lot. I can't do that now because of my my actual work schedule. But those are some good times we had. With no one watching apart from like Ed. But good times. Patrick, the QR code is on the TV screen behind Hit Row. It said Hit Row and then it swapped to a QR code. I saw it. Raymond says, typical Hit Row Street Profits backstage segment. Yep, they like getting drunk. What can I say? Right. Did we catch the QR code behind the Street Profits there? If not, you've missed another breadcrumb. I believe it said come dine with me, which is confusing, but it is what it is. It's going to pop up all over Twitter in like a minute, so let's see. It was scannable. It was scannable, Kieran. There were people sort of in the way, but I think someone was waiting to press a button on that one. You'll see it on Twitter shortly. I have absolute confidence in that. Some people have enough time to actually take screen caps and all that of actual SmackDown while it's happening. I don't have that. What have I got? Let's see if it's popped up yet. I'm not seeing mention of it yet. People saw it. I'll take it. Khalid says, Tom, I agree with you. Liv Morgan doesn't need to join Judgment Day. Nobody needs to do anything. It's just what they want to do, as it were. Sai already ahead of the game. Feed your head. Thank you, Ross. Appreciate it. Connor says, I'm looking forward to quite a few games. New FIFA, new FM, new Harry Potter game in February. Not really going to be playing that one, I don't think. So, what does the QR code lead to? What are people seeing? Because I can't click that link. I'm streaming right now. In case people forgot, because sometimes people do. Where does it go? Where it stops, nobody knows. Just as a reminder, as we're going to the end of the first hour and the upcoming draw segment, we have 19 viewers, 13 likes. Please remember to hit thumbs up. Every little does help and has a potential to ensure that a whole lot more people find the show, which of course naturally also increases my chances of one day being able to do this full time. So please do remember to thumbs up if you can. I did see that, Hector. I saw it by like 15 people. Thank you, Kieran. I appreciate that. Megan says, tried to scan it, but I couldn't get it to work. Ooh. Okay, so let's get that link then. Are you ready? Got it, Kieran. Sami Zayn shouting at someone backstage. Ricochet and Madcap Moss trying to talk to Sami Zayn. I like it. I like backstage stuff like this. It's really bad now. It's really bad. We are seeing a lot more backstage segments featuring wrestlers and actual friendship. I'm having BT issues. Raymond says, obnoxious Sammy. Love it. Well, yeah, he's very proud of his position. He's very proud of his position. He's not anywhere near the head of the table, but he's at the table, which sometimes that's enough. I'm just having to refresh my BT, unfortunately. I'll be right back with you. Hopefully I'm not missing anything particularly huge in this particular promo. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Oh, no, no, don't do that. It tells me I have too many live streams running. I have one live stream running. I gotta restart. Hopefully nothing breaks, because that would be annoying. Let's see. Halsey says QR code gives you your coordinates to Edmonton, where Raw is. What a surprise. Raymond says Sammy is at the head of the kids table. I like that. And Sai says the link goes to a game where you guide a rabbit to a door, which leads to latitude, longitude coordinates that I was too slow to capture. Yeah, it's the same game that was there on WWE.com earlier today. Breadcrumbs, guys. Breadcrumbs. I told you. They're going to drag this out until the end of time, if need be. Till the end of time. Right. Restarting. Hopefully, guys, I'm not missing anything huge, but if that's the case, oh well. Thank you, Khalida. Appreciate that. I am trying my best to just be a good host and a fun show. That's all I'm really looking for. Thomas is struggling with the game. Connor thinks bread is good. I don't know why Connor thinks that. I don't know what the conversation is supposed to be that led to that. I'm guessing I'm missing something. Thank you. Right, Kieran says Sammy and Solo did just beat up Ricochet and Moss, but that's it so far. Oh, maybe a tag match coming up. Billy says Sammy has a new friend in the Bloodline. See, they've been helping each other out. It's kind of nice and reassuring seeing them be best buddies. Gotcha, Connor. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that you explained that. Yes, Horsey, it's a tease to Raw. And on Raw, there'll be a tease to SmackDown. And then on SmackDown, there'll be a tease to Raw. And what's going to happen is that you're going to watch every single show because something might happen. What if something happens and I'm not watching? I need to watch every show. They've teased it, haven't they? They've teased it. It's very standard. There's another commercial break as soon as I get back in. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let me do a tweet. Let me do a tweet. Today's White Rabbit breadcrumb tells us to watch Raw. Raw's White Rabbit breadcrumb will tell us to watch SmackDown. Good old sorry. I missed a capital letter and I apologize. Good old viral marketing. Because that's all it is. This is just viral marketing and it's working a treat for Triple H. Thomas has given up. Hector says, I don't know if you were watching WWE in 2012. I was not. But these White Rabbit teasers remind me of the Jericho It Begins vignette at the time. They were super creepy and mysterious. No one really knew what they were. I like the unknown and wanting to find out what comes next. My chair legs are... Well, the wheels are stuck right now. Just going to iron those out a little bit. Connor says, it's smart from WWE to make people watch every show. Absolutely. And also he says, what happens at 2:23 a.m. then? Anything now we have had the game? I don't know. I don't know. Come with me. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Connor. I don't know why the word dine got stuck in there for me and it ended up being come dine with me, but I'll take it. Thank you for the clarification. So as I say, good old viral marketing, working very effectively, clearly. Triple H and his breadcrumbs, as I spoke about earlier. Maybe at 9:23 we'll see Mustafa Ali. I never really watched Come Down With Me. Never really watched it. I know it was incredibly dramatic, and I know there was no reason for it to be incredibly dramatic, and yet for some reason it was. Thomas says that game was the most frustrating thing I've played since Flappy Bird. I never touched Flappy Bird, and I'm so glad that I never touched Flappy Bird. Also he says, any comeback won't happen until Extreme Rules anyway. Not true. Kieran says, Come Down With Me is great free to 4 a.m. TV when you try to sleep. You guys got to remember, this is Triple H we're talking about. The idea that, oh, it'll only happen in a big thing. You can use that for anything. So what you're saying, Horsey, is that Bray will not return unless it's at a WrestleMania, right? He won't return unless it's a WrestleMania main event, right? He won't return unless it's a 0 at the end number WrestleMania. So what he's saying is he'll return at WrestleMania 50 in the main event featuring The Rock and Vince McMahon. That's what you're telling me, right? You always do that. I don't mean you per se, but people always do that. They're like, oh, we'll save it for bigger. Oh, no, bigger. Oh, no, bigger. They make it much bigger than it is. Why are we getting a Royal Rumble countdown? Bit early. True, Stuart, but a lot of people seem to think something's going to happen at 9:23. I do remember Siphon Filter, but only kind of. That was very much a phase that I was watching. Sai says, I've played that rabbit game a couple of times. Gives a different word each time. Coal and then patricide. Killing someone's dad. Raymond says they are pushing Rumble already. Yep, apparently. Really, Eddie? FTR? Funny that. Not like I reported it 11 days ago or anything. Did everybody see my tweet about that, by the way? That was a wonderful moment. Watching and seeing that, oh, there's a paywall reporting today that FTR have been approached by the WWE. And I just reported it forever ago. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods heading down to the ring. Wow, Sai, that is commitment. Imagine caring about JavaScript in 2022. We are 10 minutes to the draw segment, so whatever the New Day are doing, they won't be doing it for long. They're in wrestling gear. Triple M have got the job as entrance. I worry that Triple H is breaking Triple M up so that he can get LA Knight and just sort of abandoning them down the road. They're not exactly getting the love I was hoping for. I mean, after all, it's nearly Saudi Arabia time. Maybe they're just trying to get Mansoor. But, oh, bloody hell. Back into a good position. Sorry, briefly distracted there. Briefly speechless. Thomas says potentially the next Rumble could be the best ever. Why? Also says, not all, buddy. I mean, surely these teasers are to Extreme Rules. 2 weeks is all I meant. I know you didn't mean me personally. No worries. Cheers, man. Hector says the biggest takeaway from this whole White Rabbit situation is I'm hopeful if Aleister Black does come back to WWE that there's going to be teases and vignettes. Also, I hope his first roster debut is going to be the thing of the past, like Harrions has. Aleister Black did not have a bad first run. He lost only 2 matches, really, that being to Seth Rollins and AJ Styles in his first year and a bit. He did not have a bad first run. He just wasn't used all that much. Eric says, does anyone remember what happened to the AOP Pro Nation that was supposed to have promotion that was supposed to have Nia Jax? No, nobody knows what happened to that. AOP don't really know. Ofa says New Day rocks, which is absolutely fair. Max Dupree is now taking pictures of Max Dupree. And that was just a referee's arse. I don't think she knows what she's doing with that camera. Raymond says, I can't embrace Triple M. Hopes it's a short-lived gimmick. It does nothing for either wrestler. They're on TV now. They weren't before. Sean says, do you think Alistair needed the heel turn? Yeah. He was lacking in basically all things personality and character. They needed a repackage for him. And I liked where they were going. It just didn't actually follow up. Ross says, WWE, speaking of people under contract, I assume it's like football before clubs sign them. Clubs know or think that they can get them and go through third parties to find out. There are no third parties. There are no agents for wrestlers. There are no unions for wrestlers. That's what makes it so problematic. There are no third parties. Oh, for Mrs. LA Knight. I enjoyed LA Knight. I also really like Max Dupree. I like the character. I think it's close enough to LA Knight that I'd be happy with it. Max Dupree has just cost Triple M the match, and Max Dupree is livid with her. The overacting by Mansoor continues to be wonderful. Sean says the heel turn I was talking about was when he turned on Kevin Owens. Okay, I get that. Yeah, maybe not. Thomas says with the potential returns of Cody and Orton in the Rumble match. From the Women's Rumble, I'm not sure who the winner could be. I'm guessing Becky, but feel it could be anyone. Don't necessarily look at Becky myself. But, I don't know, we'll find out. Max Dupree's beating up his clothes. I get the feeling he's unhappy. That's the vibe I'm getting personally. Also says Rumble at Alamo Dome, wasn't that the 97 venue as I remember, HBK Homecoming? Not sure. Didn't watch it. Ghost says seeing the plans for SmackDown, if something happens at 9:23 would make sense as a match featuring Braun versus Otis, aka Big Men slapping meat, is up next. Very true. I don't think Braun Otis is going to be the draw segment though. Doesn't make much sense as a draw segment. We're getting a whole Braun Strowman vignette now. I'm not there for this. Like, you know, we all like or dislike what we like or dislike. Braun Strowman I do not like. I just don't see the appeal. Bailey says, any chance we can see a tag match between the Usos and Sami Solo? Not yet. It's a while yet. Certainly I think that'd be a fun match, but that involves like a lot of breakups quite soon and a real shake-up of the situation. Alpha says, you know what I really miss? Watching SmackDown. I've had a guilty conscience due to the fact that I have wrestling at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Yeesh. Patrick, we are definitely getting LA Knight soon. They've been very clear about that. Sai says, the cynic in me thinks they probably need to move Mansoor away from this gimmick before they go to Saudi. Well, that or they shouldn't. Maybe a good old-fashioned metrosexual character in Saudi Arabia is the answer. You never know. They are reinforcing the ring. And by reinforcing the ring, what I mean is that they are looking at the ring. Raymond says, I like Maxine Dupree. If they stay with Triple M, she would be better as their manager. Would give LA Knight an opening to return. That seems to be the plan at this point in time. Seems to be exactly where we're headed. John says, I don't believe that was Miz's house that was shown on Raw a couple of weeks ago. Man knows how to live, what can I say? Ross says, I'm hoping for an LA Knight return, one of my favourites from NXT. And it's coming. Megan says, oh no, more LA Knight. How terrible that will be. So terrible, Megan. So terrible. Also, he says, for me, to be honest, I don't get the Braun thing so far. I expected better. Maybe that's me being harsh. Maybe, maybe not. But either way, you expect what you expect. And honestly, I'm unconvinced. Kieran says, have they ever done a ring collapse mid-show before? No. I don't think they're going to do that now either. Like, that'd basically be abandoning the next half hour rebuilding the damn thing. And then eventually getting to a tag team championship match where we probably just break again. Okay, I've convinced myself. Do it. That could be a lot of fun. Sometimes you just need to break things, you know? And break things you shall. Now, I realised earlier today that quite a few people don't actually know that we have a Discord. We had 10 people join the Discord earlier today when I sent out a link. So let's send out another link, just in case anyone else doesn't know. Here is a link to our Discord. Jump in, say hi, and welcome. If you'd like to join a community of people who just plain love wrestling, that's the place to do it. Hector says, Tom, is there a wrestler whose gimmick was changed by Vince that you wish that could change under Triple H? For me, it's 100% Dominik Dijakovic. Matches he put on NXT was so damn good. His feud with Keith Lee was one of my favourites of the Black and Gold era. Can you name me 2 more great matches that he had that don't involve Keith Lee? Money says, I'm itching for Bray Wyatt. A lot of people seem to be as well. And Kieran says, I want to see how they cleaned up after SummerSlam. Fair. As far as I can tell, they waited for everyone to leave and then they just lowered it down again. Raymond says they have a cream for that. Kieran says, I wonder how ruined the ring was or if it was even reusable. Well, it flat packs, so perfectly reusable. At SummerSlam, yeah, I know it comes up, but all they had to do was lower it down. It would have been absolutely fine. They had to make sure it held together, otherwise it was a risk to Roman. Connor says, I'm a big fan of breaking things, especially when someone breaks down the walls. Breaks the walls down? Sai says, if you're taking requests for long-form videos, yeah, I've got my little notepad of ideas here. Be interested in an examination of Google Trends, how they reflected different careers events over time. Bloody hell. I mean, there's requests and then there's that. Google Trends in wrestling. All right. I mean, yeah, you're asking a lot, but we'll work it out. Ghost says, Max Dupree was as unhappy as Batista always seemed to be in my GM mode of SmackDown versus Raw. Don't know if that was just me or if it was due to my crap skills as a GM as a child, though. Well, Xavier Woods is still crap as a GM, let's be honest. And he's a grown-ass man. Money Gang is big on breaking down walls. Stuart said Dijakovic had a decent match with Priest in NXT. That I remember. The party backstage is expanding with Hit Row. Los Lothario's invading the space of B-Fab and Sonya Deville, who's just joined in a party. Just joined in a party because why not? That's Sonya Deville's character now. Natalya and Nakamura just sat chilling. Why do I love that so much? Do I see Xia Li there? Everyone's wearing black. Well, everyone sat down is wearing black. Another pop for Braun Strowman. They've rebranded him to Monster of all monsters. Why do I love it so much that Natalya and Nakamura were just casually chilling in the background of SmackDown's backstage party? Random, but also real fun. Money says, scenes where they would be pulling the cord and break apart walls are so satisfying. Okay. So I said, wasn't the request just an idea? Even an explainer of Google Trends might be interesting or not. I do need it to relate to wrestling though. So I could potentially do that with some examples from wrestling. The old Ronda Sasha comparison, for example. It's not difficult. Just I need the angle that I'm taking for it. I need to know what I'm actually trying to say. Sean is not a fan of Braun's new theme. I wasn't a fan of Braun's old theme either. Bailey says Shinsuke is always chill. He is, and always looks cool. Raymond says a lot of beef is about to enter the ring. I don't think so much that it's that big a problem, though. Patrick says, is there any plans for Nakamura? Yes. They're waiting for Boogs to come back. Money says, monster of all monsters? Yes, that is how he was introduced. Traffic says, I give it a month max before people stop popping for Braun. Yeah. Unfortunately, I do agree with that. 6'8" quite tall. I'd love to know how much that bench is in kilograms, because I don't measure that way. I don't know how to measure that way. Awkward. Thank you, Horsey. Appreciate it. Girl says, happy birthday to Sonia and Angel. Also, is that Gulak? Yes, Drew Gulak. Raymond says, is this match designed to highlight Braun, Otis, or both? Both. Otis is not supposed to be squashed here, but he's still supposed to get beaten, you know? Patrick says, long form video idea, the evolution of Roman Reigns, maybe? An idea. Certainly take a note of that. Just like an evolution of the Roman Reigns character, how we got here. Roman Reigns. Retro. That may work better at the end of his championship run, but I can certainly look into it. I know it's 2.2 pounds, but it's a lot of math to do very quickly. Otis gets drop kicked. Yes, you did, Ghost. Yeah, Control the Narrative is just a promotion where they fight for real, but they don't. Galaxy Ripple Connor, Galaxy is superior chocolate. Hector says, I just want to know why Braun is wearing red pants as a member of SmackDown. Feels like a conflict of interest to me. That's not how colour works anymore. Thomas says, my favourite Dijakovic matches are versus Harper at Worlds Collide. Oh, I remember that one, yeah. The War Game match versus Undisputed Era and versus Damian Priest. Traffic says, I don't get Braun's return being him burying half the tag division. It seems like something Vince would have done. Yep, and yet Triple H did it, and people didn't complain. And this is what I mean when I say that Otis was not going to be buried. He is actually able to manhandle Braun Strowman, at least to some degree, which is quite the improvement. Interesting money. Otis building up some momentum. And a clothesline. Strowman goes down. Now, this is part of a plan. Braun Strowman is not supposed to be unkillable. That was the biggest problem with the Braun Strowman character previously. They made him unstoppable. That does not work. It absolutely does not work. Because people stop rooting for you. Why would they root for you? So, showing that someone like Otis is actually able to put up a fight is a very good thing long term for Braun. But also, let's be fair, it's a good thing for Otis. Also, I believe this is the first draw segment Otis has ever had. Ghost says, I don't like Braun wearing ripped jeans to the point where his knee pads are that exposed. Can we call them jeans? I think we just call them tights, to be honest. It's not grey attire. Braun Strowman with a spine buster. That's new. It is good chocolate. It's damn good. I'm excited for your money. That's going to be a great match to watch live. So I said, though, a bad habit of judging a wrestler, footballer, people by their politics if they're vocal about it. Shouldn't affect my appreciation of their professional careers, but Braun got off to a bad start. He did. Yeah, he made clear his political affiliation, and I got to be honest, I also kind of judge him for it. We have a choo-choo. Lovely sell by Otis. Hector says, who do you see giving Braun his first loss back? Not going to lie, I hope it's Gunter. And he slaps Braun into next week. What's his name? Top Dollar. Already being discussed as a possibility. Top Dollar beating Braun Strowman, giving Strowman his first loss back. Strowman is now going to beat the hell out of Chad Gable for a little while. That should give Otis another chance to actually do some damage, but we'll see if that works out this time. I think it's all over at this point, let's be honest. Raymond says, Otis is a great two-way wrestler, has a resume of a great amateur, but also can push around just about anybody. He can, And in fact, he does. Slam? Oh, a bit awkward, but he got there. Goes for a cover. Strowman didn't really wait for a 2 there. I think something else is supposed to be happening here. Otis didn't seem to want to make that cover. Strowman gave that one away, eyes wide open watching the count. Otis, see, I read that as Otis versus Tucker and I was quite excited by that. Tucker, I don't expect will come back to wrestling. WWE, I should say. Good old-fashioned Vader bomb. Otis can't keep the big man down. He's going for a second rope splash. Misses. Strowman's up. Powerbomb incoming. Ultimately, as previously, you can say that Otis beat himself. It's a bit of a jackknife, isn't it? His powerbomb. It's a bit of a jackknife. It doesn't actually get him up. It's a quick release at the very least. I did enjoy that actually. I think Otis got good opportunity to shine there. Braun didn't steal the spotlight, as it were. He's still selling now, in fact, which is unusual for him. Tweet on that. This is a very different Braun Strowman. He's not the same man that took 6 finishes in a row and kicked out through 6 whole people during an elimination chamber match. That is a very, very good thing. Bray Wyatt seems to be trending, by the way. Ghost says, I think they're jeans, but I try not to look too hard at the lower region. The look is just not it. I'm not a Braun fan anyways. Pardon me. I get what you're saying. Braun's one of those. He is an acquired taste. And there's plenty of reasons not to be a fan. Connor loves Otis. Sean said, surprised Braun changed his finisher and the running power slam fit him. I agree. I'm not sure why he did that, but if he's chosen powerbomb, I'm all for it. Fight Night being interviewed backstage, hyping up our main event. We of course saw the Usos at the beginning of the show. Brawling Brutes now. Good stuff. Traffic says Otis got a lot of trust letting someone powerbomb him. It's quite a tight, snug powerbomb, to be fair. Raymond says this match boosted Otis's stock. I agree. I think it's probably one of the most rewarding matches he's been in for a while. Sheamus very focused on Gunter. Butch still being called Butch. Pete Dunne's really enjoying his life right now. And he's just gone. Where's he gone? Where's he gone? Where's he gone? Who's he gone to beat up? Is he going to run off and start beating up Drew McIntyre again? I don't know why, but I'd really like it if he was just found beating up Drew McIntyre again. And afterwards, Sheamus like, sorry Drew, I can't stop him. I can't stop him. Hector says, to be honest, are we sure he's selling after the match because the way the man walks, sure, makes it look like he's always in pain. Well, when you got a body that big, pain's going to happen. Justin says people can hate Strowman all they want, but the guy is and always has been over AF. Over? Yes. Over AF, I'm not so sure you can claim. Connor says, I think Braun is using a powerbomb because Wardlow doing well with it, but I could be wrong. You're probably wrong. That's unlikely. There'll be no actual connection there. Patrick says, we're slowly getting Pete Dunne back. Megan says, as regards Butch, he's like an excitable pit bull puppy. And yes, Horsey, Braun was holding his lower back. That may also be a good sell. But we have to consider that possibility. Ghost says, I believe Braun has a history of knee injuries and subsequent surgeries. After losing a bunch of weight, he may not be as capable of doing that on a weekly basis anymore. Very possible, but he's not exactly doing much. Like, that's his first actual match since coming back. Before that, he did some running and some That's basically it. Like, I can't really sit here and say he's doing the Lord's work, as it were. He's doing a lot of running round, which is, you know, great, I guess. I don't know. I'm sort of there and back again on this one. I'm not a fan of Braun. I don't really enjoy his matches, apart from certain ones, like the ambulance match. That was pretty good. I'm more than willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and give him a chance again, but I'm going to need impressing. Also says, definitely a sell, which I agree with you on, about a new Braun is a good thing. Completely so, yes. Raymond says, I think Braun powerbombed Otis because it would be difficult to power slam Otis because of his size. Braun would have no issue power slamming Otis. No issue whatsoever. Bianca Belair would be absolutely fine with it. Braun Strowman is a big dude. He could handle it. Thomas says, I'm guessing that Strowman is using a powerbomb now instead of the power slam as it's easier on his knees, not taking constant bumps when delivering it. Possibly. He did always land one knee first, and he's wearing knee pads now, so it's a fair comment. That seems more likely. Certainly, I think we can call it a mystery. And I believe we can all agree that mysteries are fun. So, who knows what the reason is? I'm just glad that there is one. Oh, we did indeed. I can see you, Horsey, joining on the Discord. We now have 76 people in the Discord. 76 people. That's pretty good numbers. Pretty good numbers indeed. So that was our draw segment. Braun Strowman, which I kind of get. Braun Strowman makes sense. Good spot for Otis to be in. I'm waiting to see Ronda Rousey at this point. We haven't really seen much of her. But I think after that, we're just main event time. Oh, we're getting a Fox commercial. Game of the week, apparently. I do apologise. I'm a little tired. It is 2:15 in the morning here. Like, that should say it all, really, shouldn't it? Drew McIntyre is on his way out. I'd imagine this is the Karrion Kross segment. Once again, I wouldn't mind it if Butch just chased him. Just started chasing him down to the ring at this point. It'd be funny. Drew McIntyre's holding a strap. Does somebody want a strap match? Also, he says, Hangfire, Drew time, and 9 minutes from 2:23 now makes sense. Cross indeed. Hector says, okay, Tom, I need your personal opinion. I've been getting into cooking more, so someone make a Scotch egg, and I'm intrigued. Is it something you fancy and worth trying, or no? I think it's worth trying. I can't necessarily say it's the greatest thing in the world. Megan may disagree. Megan says, I'm kind of indifferent about Braun. Right now, he's just another big guy. The only thing he has over the likes of Veer and Omos is that he's already had to go round the company. Very, very true. It looks like Drew McIntyre wants a strap match with Karrion Kross. Every now and then I do think I'm funny. Like, I don't... If I'm not, just like, don't tell me, please. Just let me live in ignorance. Just this once. Just this once. Please. Please. So please. Please. Just let me live in ignorance. Please. Raymond says, strap match coming. Kieran says, strap on. What made you think of that? Rude. Also, says maybe I'm reading too much into the 223 thing. I think you may be. But Connor also says it's almost 9:23. Wonder if we will see anything. John says if WWE does have Scarlett wrestle, who do you think will be her first opponent? Whoever is available at the time. Horsey says for me, Viva Connor, it's Kross. Thomas says I wouldn't mind a strap match at Extreme Rules. Seems like we're getting one. Gil says either way, I respectively do not care about Braun as a competitor. Personally not a fan of a lot of the big guys because the movesets get repetitive and he hasn't done anything to necessarily impress me. I get that. Connor says Drew has swapped out his sword for a strap-on. Raymond says strap-on match. I thought WWE was still TV PG. It is. Well, I mean, sometimes you just need to make sure, and the best way to do that, make sure no one's escaping, is a strap. He went straight to the top. So to be clear, are we now confirming the match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross at Extreme Rules? Yes, we are. I wonder who reported that first. It's a good day to be me, isn't it? Lots of things being reported. Yes, Drew, we're wondering what that thing in your hand is. We have no idea. I like the look of the leather. Control yourself, traffic. Well, I was going to say I didn't necessarily think we were going to get another 6 minutes to lead into 2:23, but the screen just went black and white. I think we're getting the full entrance. Guys, I think we're getting the full entrance. Are we about to be introduced to the White Rabbit? Is Scarlett the White Rabbit? Interesting gloves. Did they just call Scarlett clairvoyant and mystic? I don't like that. Stewart is loving the entrance. Kross is attacking from behind. Drew McIntyre is just not selling. He's just refusing to sell for Kross. So Kross is just getting beat up. Patrick says after Extreme Rules, is Drew going to be taking time off? Possibly. I don't think he's getting in War Games if he's carrying a back injury. That said, he hasn't been wrestling all that much recently, which is potentially a good thing. Agree, traffic. Kross is not looking particularly strong here. He's just getting beat up. Like, why doesn't Drew sell? Remen says, I like the idea of a Drew Kross strap match. Great way to turn up the intensity in this feud. Is Kross going to get any offense in at all? I'm not liking this. So let's Scarlett defending him. Defending Kross. Right. Kross's return run thus far. Popped up to line up against Roman. Sat ringside at Clash, then left for no reason. McIntyre just got blinded and he's still getting all the offense. Failed to choke out Drew. He's getting beaten down and strapped. Needs perfume and low blows just to survive. Not the sort of return I was looking for, personally. It's not been very good. Horsey says makes Kross look weak. Horsey says the fire failed. It did indeed. I thought she was just spraying perfume. If not, that's an ad-lib doing the best they can. Eric said if we're getting Knight back, can we get Sophie back? Possibly. No reason why not. Raymond says Scarlett get more offense in than Kross. So far, yeah. Here we go. Drew's not going to allow himself to be choked out, though. Drew won't sell it. Connor says, see, my issue of there being a match at Extreme Rules being a strap match is a match like that should not be the first match of a feud. Second or third, maybe not the first. Who says there's going to be a second or a third? What if it's just the one match? What if it's just the one match? Let it go. Let it go. Okay, so Drew's kind of out. Except he's also kind of not. Not great. Two more minutes to your supposed White Rabbit segment. I get the feeling it's going to happen during a commercial break. Yep. Commercial break. So something is happening at 2:23. It's not happening on TV. Hector says, I love Drew, but he's not been selling the best during this carrying feud so far, and I'm not sure why. It's odd. Kieran says, shame people sell so good for Drew, yet he does stuff like that. Remember Brock sell when he was eliminated at the Rumble? Absolutely. Sean says, Scarlett throws a fireball, no one complains. Alexa throws a fireball and everyone throws a fit. What? See the difference? Nobody has had enough time to say anything, Sean. Like, seriously, calm down. Nobody has had any time to say anything. So you're immediately jumping down people's throats for, oh, it's an unfair comparison. Yeah, it's an unfair comparison. One of them hasn't really had a reaction yet. Calm down. Ghost says the fireball was not realistic at all. Trying to give Kross a chance, but this run, while not as bad as the last one, is not doing him much favours. Agreed. Thomas says, Drew the bestseller, is he? He's not. Megan says, has it already been mentioned what is at the end of tonight's QR video? Yes, it is. Yes, it has. Connor says, I still don't think a strap match should be the only pay-per-view match of a feud either, to be honest with two people that have no history. Yeah, they are fast-tracking this one at a half, aren't they? Jonathan, how you doing, mate? Says, at least Kross got some heat there. Yeah, eventually. Raymond says, Kross playing it like Drew fell for their trap. Weak booking for Kross, hoping for a better build for this match. Yep. It's just... it's not what I was looking for. So we have about a half hour left. I can't imagine there's going to be any more matches. At this point, I'd imagine we're just building for the main event. It says 9:23 is a commercial for Kit Kat. Please tweet that. That would just be fun. Stuart says, can't really moan at a fireball that didn't happen. True. I genuinely thought it was perfume. I genuinely thought she was just trying to blind him with perfume. Would it have been better? I'm not sure. Would have been different. One last time as we go into our last half an hour, please remember to hit like if you haven't already, and subscribe if you'd like to as well. We do watch parties for every Smackdown and every pay-per-view that isn't in Saudi Arabia, because I don't watch those. And we also have spoiler warning news shows on Monday and on Friday. Just to talk about some of the news that we've reported exclusively on spoiler warning before anywhere else. The news that we would be getting Kross versus Drew at Extreme Rules, that was something that I reported on spoiler warning. The news of WWE contacting FDR, that was reported 11 days ago on spoiler warning, and there is plenty more like it, so be sure to check it out. As we head into the last half hour, I'll stop pandering and stop being like, oh, you should follow and blah blah blah, but I do need to slip some of that in there. You know, I have to slip the occasional commercial for myself in there. Not the biggest fan of it, as you know. I always feel like I'm pandering, but hopefully you guys aren't too offended by it. We have gained 2 subscribers, which is lovely. Rackbot, Light Joker says, who is White Rabbit? Oh, it actually was a fireball. Lights are too high. White Rabbit is carrying Kross. They've really had to work hard to make that fireball look like something. Damage control are here. Dakota is wrestling. Oh, I'm happy. Lacey says, gotta say, Tom, your news on Regal early didn't surprise me. Think he will eventually return. Has a long relationship with Triple H, so can see it. William Regal, to my knowledge, is very happy with his current position in AEW, but I also know that he's someone that Triple H doesn't like working without. So who's Kai working against? Asuka? Logically, it should be Asuka, right? Raymond says they have a still of the fireball to make it look better. They had to freeze frame it. Logically, it should be Asuka here. So it looks like they have found a way to slip another wrestling match in there. Damage Control have been doing double duty for, essentially since SummerSlam for when they returned. They are being built as genuine stars in the company. And I can do nothing but credit it. Also, he says, Bliss to continue Monday's story, though. Oh, it's Raquel Rodriguez. I forgot. Oh, of course it's Raquel Rodriguez. And the Bliss storyline seems focused very much on Raw. Triple H has chosen certain teams and certain people who can float between both, but mostly you stick to your brand. Damage Control, Alpha Academy. You're right, Patrick. You're right there. Raquel does look a bit more intense. She's not smiling, which I like, but she is still posing. Posing and angry. I like this Raquel a little bit more. Raymond says, I love Dakota's on the show. Nice surprise for me. Let's see if they actually focus on the history between these two. Thomas says, why can I see a surprise happening? Because Triple H has trained everyone to expect surprises. Connor says, Bobby Fish has turned up at Impact Victory Road. Wow. Gotta be honest, aren't too many people that wanted him. He's pissed off a lot of people. Kai at this point getting beat up pretty consistently, just getting absolutely battered. Oh. What I like is that Raquel Rodriguez knows what she's doing when it comes to Kai. She already knows the offense. She recognizes it, which she would. This is going to be a real short match, isn't it? Are we going to the finish already? I think we're going to the finish already. Raymond says Raquel hasn't smiled to the ring in the last few weeks, starting to make her more intense. Best Raquel. Agreed. Agreed. Here comes Shotzi. For some reason. It's not a good Lou Thesz press. So it looks like Damage Control versus Shotzi and Raquel on SmackDown. Meanwhile, Damage Control continue the feud of Asuka and Alexa on Raw. Two separate feuds. Dakota Kai just lost. She can survive that. It's not a big issue. I think she can survive a bit more than Raquel would. Especially given that she's going to get her heat back now of a beating. But I'm not happy with what's just happened. It seems rushed and it seems unnecessary. Io Shirai just walked backwards into Shotzi. Has Io Shirai forgotten how to wrestle? Has she gone onto the main roster and just forgotten? What happened there? That was not a good moment. Megan says, looks like they are building the sides for War Games. I agree with that. The only question is... who has enough history with, for example, Bayley, that they may want to tag with her? Patrick suggests a triple threat for the tag title soon. I wouldn't hate it. Go says, where's Aaliyah? Hasn't been spotted at all since the title loss, carrying an injury to my knowledge. Well, looks like Los Lotharios versus Hit Row next week. Nobody really helped there. Also, he says, blinking, you'll miss it, I guess. I think that they're just killing a bit of time. Sean says, fun fact, everyone in that segment had been a women's tag team champion. I did not realise Shotzi had been a tag team champion on the main roster. Did not know that. Traffic says, what the heck was that exchange of Shotzi and EO? Just awkward. Just awkward. Just very awkward. Raymond says, I hope Shotzi continues to get consistent TV time. A great talent has been buried on the main roster. Once again, she hasn't been buried. She hasn't been buried. She hasn't been used particularly consistently, but she hasn't been buried. She's had promo time. She had a feud with Sasha Banks. She's involved now. She has been used. Bailey believes that Raquel would be better as a singles competitor. Yes, but if you do that right now, it means Raquel Rodriguez will be taking on Liv Morgan, and that's awkward. If she's a singles competitor, she's not featured on TV. Sean says Shotzi is a former NXT Women's Tag Team Champion with Ember. Slightly different, but I get what you're saying. Slightly different. I'm getting stiff, guys. I do apologise. Not like that. Not like that. Get your head out of the gutter. We are heading into our final half hour of SmackDown. Our main event, and likely our only match remaining, the Usos versus Pete Dunne, or Butch, and Ridge Holland of Fight Night. Now, it's been a while. Pardon me. It's been a while since Sheamus has been in this prominent a position, but it's never happened that Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland have been in this prominent a position. Ridge Holland has been background for his entire run so far. Pardon me. I do feel that, and I can see the debate happening now and I like it, I do feel that regular TV time makes it impossible to be buried, unless it's something like what happened with Zack Ryder. Traffic says winning and losing has nothing to do with being buried, in my opinion. It's more in how often you're actually booked. That certainly plays into it. It's just how you're treated. Being buried isn't just being absent. That's not the situation. Being buried is having your value diminished. Nearly forgot to say the words. Having your value intentionally diminished. It's a very different situation. Yes, Patrick, there was another QR code. Megan says, I think Dakota's the only one who held both NXT and main roster tag team gold. I would agree with that. Sounds consistent. Or Raquel? Was it Dakota and Raquel? I'm not sure. Connor says, to get buried, you have to lose regularly and have your character get degraded down. Shotzi's not had enough matches to be buried. Yeah, when you get the call up, you don't automatically go to the top. You have to start at the bottom under Triple H, and that is where a lot of people are going to say, oh, they're being buried. No, they just have to start low down. Fair enough, Horsey. You're right. You're right. Kieran says, I was just checking title histories. They've actually put down Roxanne as holding the tag titles on her own for a week. Interesting. Hector says, as much as I love Dakota Kai, I'm okay with a loss, especially if you want to make Raquel and Shotzi seem like legible contenders to Damage Control's tag titles. Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to Damage Control, as long as Bailey is protected, I think we can just be comfortable there. Thomas says, Tom, I know you said that you like Raquel, but damn, didn't think you meant that much. Right. Okay. Took me a moment there. Took me a moment. Go says, I'll be honest, the way the women have been portrayed tonight hasn't been great. Had the women's champion entered during a commercial break, looked relatively weak for the most part other than a table spot. Kai versus Rodriguez was short to the point of being useless. I agree. I agree with that. It just seems largely unnecessary what we've seen. Next week, Bailey will take on Shotzi. I can't imagine Shotzi's winning that. And Hit Row take on Los Lotharios. This, by the way, is the rotation that we were expecting under Triple H. Tag teams coming in, coming out. Also next week, Ricochet and Moss versus Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa. So the Usos will not wrestle next week, but Sami and Solo will. They are working it like they're recording. And they're recording 2 or 3 shows. So they're swapping people in and out. I like that. We haven't seen Imperium this week, for example. We'll undoubtedly see them next week. And we maybe won't see Fight Night. I like that. Raquel did as well. Apparently Io has as well. Interesting. Yep, Sean says Io has as well. Stuart says Raquel. Megan says I stand corrected. Dakota, Io and Raquel have all held both. So, a lot of people who are in that ring. A lot of people. So Butch did wander off earlier, right? No one's going to mention that. Can't help but notice that everyone's just ignoring that happened. A very good response from the crowd for Fight Night. I think there's a bit of fatigue at the minute. Well, people are behind him. Pete Dunne lost his hat. Reach the frick? No. True, Megan. Fair point. Now here come the Usos. I'll be interested to see who they come down with. Will we see Sami and Solo? Yes, we will. Sami wearing his new t-shirt. Just having a great time. Look how happy he is. Look how happy he is. Look at him. Look at him. Look at Sami Zayn. Look how happy he is. The 3D graphic is still terrifying. I don't like it. It's a bit much. It's a bit much. I have to agree with Corey Graves. The Bloodline has never been stronger. I don't know what the internal issue would be. Hector says, I think one of my favourite things about Triple H has been that things aren't pointless. Like under Vince, if there was a beatdown, that would be it. You'd never hear about it. But Solo beat the brakes off of Ricochet and Madcap, so they rightfully should want revenge. Very fair. Connor said, what are the odds for Pete and Ridge to win? Low. Low. Bailey says the women's booking seems a bit adrift. With the exception of Damage Control, I would say that's true. They know what they want to do with Damage Control. The Tag Team Championships have been very well done. Everything else they're struggling with. Everything else. Ghost says, is it just me, or has this week of WWE content been weaker than it's been for the last few weeks? There's been no surprises. So it feels like something's missing, I feel. That's my opinion on it. Because there's been no surprises, it feels like something's missing. The problem with all these surprises is that Triple H has basically said, I expect it every single week. Megan says, Sammy's most wrestling fans when the Usos music hits, it's a bop and a half. I do agree with that. I very much agree with that. The lights have gone down, really showing how serious this is. This is a hell of a main event. Just a hell of a main event. We've had some very good main events recently. I mean, in 2 weeks we're going to get Gunter Sheamus probably for a main event. Constant championship matches. Wonderful time. Also says this should be amazing once we get back from commercial break. Sean says, I hope DIY is a team that beats the Usos. I find it unlikely. I still think Owen Zayn. Raymond says, I expect something to happen with Sami at the end of this match. The emotion in the opening segment with Sami leaves an opening for a letdown. It does. I also kind of hope it doesn't. Just let Sami stand tall at the end. This, I feel, should be the moment when Jay actually shakes his hand. That's what I want. Bailey says, part of the problem is that Roman is locked into the title until April. No ability to build surprises. Around Roman, yes, but there are plenty of surprises elsewhere. There's a reason SmackDown hasn't had so many big moments. Timothy says, hey Tom, sorry I didn't get here earlier. No need to be sorry, Timothy. Welcome to the show. Traffic says, nice, someone posted a 2-minute vid on Twitter during the commercial break for the White Rabbit. What happened? Was it the song again? Sean says, I'm surprised this match is happening now and not at the PLE. Well, as I mentioned, when it comes to Triple H, he likes smaller pay-per-views. A large part of that means that certain matches that would make pay-per-view, like a rematch between Gunter and Sheamus, can't make it. So he'll put that during a SmackDown or during a Raw. This Tag Team Championship match probably would have popped up during Extreme Rules. But But they already have Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey. They have McIntyre versus Kross. They have Bianca Belair versus Bayley. They are already getting quite a few matches in that slot. So that pay-per-view is going to be full soon. Triple H doesn't like more than, say, 6 matches. Patrick says this has a big fight feel. Completely agree. Hector says, I'm so glad to see Ridge in the title picture after the unfortunate accident with Big E. I know he wouldn't say it, but his confidence must have been shook. So glad to see him doing good. I really like that you said that, Hector. Thank you for saying it. That's a very good point. The New Day, and I mean all of them, all reached out to Ridge Holland after the injury, making it clear that it wasn't his fault. Just making it clear that it was not his fault. Reassuring him. I do feel he sort of went back into himself a little bit. We haven't seen him use certain moves since. It took him a while to get back to doing that particular one. But he seems to have found his feet again, seems to have found his confidence again. I could not be happier for him. It was a song and some red light near the end. Cool. Okay. Not a big surprise then. Raymond says, if Jay shakes Sammy's hand, I think it changes the dynamic. The tension between the two adds to the story in a positive way. Yes, but it can be a tense handshake that continues to be tense going forwards. You can escalate in minor moments. And I do feel this is a story that really benefits from that minor escalation. For those that haven't spotted, we have reached our target of 1,650 subscribers. We will continue to climb, naturally. But for anyone who wasn't there earlier on for the channel update, I'm aiming for 2,000 by the end of the year. A large part of that, a large part of that is that we're going to get more breaking news videos and some more long form videos, such as, for example, my video about what happened with Bray Wyatt. If you have any suggestions, please give them. I have quite a few noted down already that people have given me that I will be examining going forwards. But if you have any ideas, please let me know. The breaking news videos and the long form videos have been very, very good for views, watch time and subscribers recently. Things are going extremely well in that department. Huge thanks to everyone who watches, likes, comments and chats along. We will still be doing all of our live content. I'm just starting to do a bit more content. Breaking news videos don't take a lot of work. I go into my breaking news section, which is just that, and hit record, and it's that simple. Long form does take a bit more work, so it can take a few weeks. That's why it shouldn't be about anything that's happening now. But you will be expecting more videos as we head towards 2,000 subscribers. It means slightly more than 100 subscribers per month. It's about 112 subscribers per month required. But I feel confident we can make that. After all, we're already at that level for this month with a week still to go. Ghost says, personally, at least for me, it's not the lack of surprises. I'm actually glad that they stopped with the surprises for now. I get what you're saying there. Other than Damage Control, the women's matches haven't been great. I don't like the way Street Profits are being used currently. The Dominic stuff was awkward. There's been bright spots like Sami Zayn, but it just seems off right now. Okay. This is something that we do need to consider. For example, there was always going to be a point where some of the excitement wore off when we saw normal service. But just looking at what you pointed out there, I get what you mean when things seem a bit off. Maybe we're starting to fade a little bit on that momentum of Triple H. Maybe we're starting to see more in that regard and so on and so forth. I'm enjoying the Dominic stuff still, but the Street Profits, they're a backstage act at the moment. They're back to what they were at the beginning. They're not in ring that much. It's keeping them in the eyes, keeping them on TV, but I do feel I could do a bit more. I see where you're going from, what you're going for, where you're coming from. I merged them. I do apologise. Megan says there was another chance to get the QR code. Might be a different code, but it's too small for me to see the difference. Frenzify has subscribed on the YouTube side. Thank you kindly, Frenzify. Welcome to the show. And by all means chat, or by all means lurk, whatever works for you. Horsey says, I know this isn't the place, maybe Tom, and apologies for that. You're apologising a lot, mate. You don't need to. But heard Wade Keller say he expects CM Punk not to return to AEW. Is that just a rumour? It is a report from Wade Keller, who is one of the premier wrestling journalists in the world. Connor says, possible long video, what was it like backstage and how was the last run of Dean Ambrose once he told Vince he was leaving? Connor May. Dean Ambrose farewell tour. That's a great idea, and that's something I actually know quite a bit about. I'll certainly reach out for more information, but that is a very good idea as well, Connor. Thank you. You guys have given me some fantastic ideas. What I've got so far as deep dives: NXT UK, CM Punk's run in AEW, the NXT Black and Gold, and what led to it being changed to 2.0. What Si mentioned about Google Trends in wrestling, a retrospective of Roman Reigns, how we got to this point. That'll be a long video. And now the Dean Ambrose farewell tour. The videos, I don't know how long they're going to be. The Bray Wyatt one, I wrote the script, recorded it, and it ended up being 20 minutes. So they could be quite long, but I think a lot of people enjoyed that Bray Wyatt video. I really do. Timothy says, I don't know, I love the women's matches. The women's matches this week have not been very good. There's not been enough to really sink your teeth into. Sean says, what do you think of Bayley versus Alexa as the main event of Raw this week? I liked it. The two have a certain chemistry. Bayley and Alexa actually do have good matches. They got sort of a bad taste out of the mouth from previous feuds. And I liked that it was the main event. They put a lot of focus into it, but it was just a one-off, as it were. Timothy says, how was it when Jericho did the Stone Cold podcast? That's not that much information, to be honest. What happened was Stone Cold reached out to Jericho, and Jericho was like, yeah. And then Stone Cold said to WWE, can Jericho come on? And WWE was like, yeah. That's kind of it. People expect that to be some massive rigmarole, some massive conversation. It wasn't. It was very much Stone Cold reached out, Jericho reached back. Stone Cold reached out, WWE reached back. WWE have never cared about AEW. Never. So having Jericho on did nothing for... They didn't care. They did not care. Bailey says, does CM Punk ever make it to the WWE Hall of Fame? He will be invited. He is not likely to attend. Sean says, a retrospective Alexa Bliss. What do you mean there, Sean? Can you give me more information as to what you'd be looking for? Raymond says, Jericho was great on Broken Skull sessions. Tim, if you like Liv's match. Also, he says, I enjoyed the Brave video, but found the AW financial situation one really intriguing and amazing. Thank you for that. My work with Gleb naturally in that scenario, I should say, I'm extremely proud of. Extremely proud of. Gleb is my hashtag proper journalist, and he really does know how to find his information and know how to break it down. The AW financials, we were reporting a lot of information about it. Then you see what's happened since. It was happening at just the right time, I tell you. Kieran says, so many people think WWE is scared of AEW or something. They do. They do. And it's sort of entered into public consciousness so that even people who don't think that still think that there was some massive argument about Chris Jericho. And there wasn't. There wasn't at all. Timothy says, just thought it might have been more interesting. Yeah, the Liv match, I would agree with that. Liv's matches are getting very formulaic. Sean says, like her run from her call-up to how we got to her current character. We all know that, though. We all know exactly how we got there. She came up as the goddess. She came up as the goddess. She got Eva Marie's push. The push was originally meant for Eva Marie, but they moved her into it once Eva Marie was going to leave. Thank you very much. 5,400 big ants. So you're not quite a million ants, but you're well on your way, mate. Welcome to the show. By all means chat, by all means look, whatever works for you, welcome. So yes, Alexa got Eva Marie's push, ended up winning the championship because of it. Once she moved to Raw, she became the goddess because, you know, the reasons. Someone had a really, really big idea for Alexa Bliss. The move to working with Bray Wyatt was just a case of she spoke backstage to Bray Wyatt about horror movie ideas and the Disney concept, and Bray liked it, pitched it to Vince, who said, yeah, sure, we're not doing much with her. We've got no plans for her. Use her. That's kind of it. I don't think there's really enough there. Bailey says, one idea for a long-form video which will take some time to build. It absolutely will. The end of Vince McMahon in the WWE. Vince McMahon. Farewell tour. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with that, isn't there? Timothy says, I wish the Brutes would win, but I know it ain't happening. Yeah, definitely not happening. But that's a big pop that Rich Holland just got. Raymond says, Sammy and Jay yelling at each other again. Yeah, let it never end. Let it never end. Hector says, Tom, how about the downfalls of Nexus? How things could have been different? I've seen a lot of stuff about the Nexus, to be honest. So I'll have a look, but I'm not going to promise anything. Also, I wasn't watching at that time, which makes it a little more difficult. Ross says, I like the financial shows as well. Just find them really interesting, and how between yourself and Gleb the information is good to know. We spend a lot of time researching, and we always seem to have like an hour-long conversation after the show. We've had some ideas. You may see more of Gleb going forwards, not just here, but also on his own channels. If you're not aware, Gleb does have his own YouTube channel. He basically is a shoutcaster, so commentary for the game League of Legends as an esport. He's very, very good at it and very, very fun. We've had some ideas. Most of them seem to involve getting drunk. Had some ideas. Timothy says, like that person said earlier, Hector, I'm glad Ridge is back to himself. Kieran says, how did you get into wrestling? Did you watch Attitude Era stuff then just stop for years? That is exactly what happened. When I was 10 years old, I came downstairs and there was a Four Corners Tag Team Championship match on my TV. I just turned 10. I'd been 10 for a month and a half. So I watched that. That was 1998. I'm 34. That was 1998. And we moved on. We left that part of the country in 2001. My audio's just gone weird. There, it's gone back. So I left that part of the country in 1991. No, I didn't. I left that part of the country in 2001. Moved across the country and just stopped watching until 2014. So yeah, that's exactly what happened. Ross says, I'm still shocked at what Moxley was being paid to move across. Yup, $6 million. Still, the highest paid man in the company still has not signed a deal to lower it. Carl, welcome. Says, I hate how they keep making us wait for the white bunny. The white rabbit, they will make you wait as long as you will possibly wait. Oh, I do apologise. I read Carl. It's Kari. I do apologise, Kari. Connor says this might not be as good of an idea as it is old, so it might not be very interesting for some, but what about Gold? Gold says, based on the chat, doing any video on Sasha Banks will get you views. Any topic regarding Sasha is just viewership gold. Personally, I'd love to see something about the last year of Jeff Hardy's WWE run. Hardy come back. Hardy come back. But yeah, Sasha Banks does get views. The reason so many people here ask about Sasha Banks is because I kept making videos about Sasha Banks. So a lot of the subscribers subscribed because of Sasha Banks. I kind of get it. Kind of my own fault. Raymond says, I'm waiting on Imperium to do a run-in to start building for the IC title match. I don't think they'll do a run-in. I think this will be clean. I don't think we'll see them this week. Timothy says, anyone else excited about the strap match between Drew and Kross? Yes. Traffic says, what wrestling match or moment made you pop the most? Probably Brock Lesnar losing to Goldberg at Survivor Series 2017. That was surprising. Kari says, they need to stop making us wait. They will keep making you wait. I promise you of that. They will continue to tease. Raymond says, patience is a virtue. Not right now, it isn't. I'm all the references today. I am all the damn references. We'll see if people recognise that one. The match so far has been hot. The crowd has been fantastic for this one. Hector says, how about Edge and what led to him deciding to come back after such a serious neck injury? I feel like there was a lot of internal struggle on whether or not to return. Let's return. This is all good stuff, guys. I can't sit here and say I'm going to make all of it. But I'll make a list. I'll do some research. I'll see what's out there. I'll see if there's interesting information. And then start writing scripts and see what happens. It gives me a lot of questions to ask, you know? Kari says, I want the Brutes to win, but they might not. I don't think they will, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not very interested in Goldberg, Connor. Jared did indeed catch it, the mummy reference. Megan says, one thing I'm intrigued about, how the pandemic/Thunderdome were actually helped characters. Mainly thinking about Bayley and Roman, if their heel turns and character building would have worked with regular crowds and no pandemic. You're right, Imperium running. Imperium running. Pandemic. That could be a very interesting one. Something on, like, how the pandemic actually played out in the WWE. I like that. And Fight Night have taken the loss. It was down to Imperium. Good call. Good call. Right, you are, Jarrett. Kari is not happy with the result. Raymond shouts Imperium. Hector says Butch and Ridge are so damn over and getting a huge pop. Losing, I think, is actually the better option for them long term. Also, he says too much interfering now for me. Nearly every match under Papa H. There has been a lot of interference, hasn't there? There was a near DQ in the first one. Girl says, how far back are you willing to go for a video? Even though you aren't watching at a time, would you cover something from the 2000s, or are you trying to keep it fairly recent? I'm not necessarily trying to keep it fairly recent, but it'll be easier to get information about recent stuff based on the sources that I have. So I'm willing to go back. The point here is what's called evergreen content. So it's stuff that people are going to be Googling for a long time. People are going to be checking. Even like 5 years from now, people are going to want to check it out, which immediately has made me want to make a video about Sean and Brett. So I'm just going to write that because that is obviously a good thing as well. Connor says, what about how NXT got started on the trips? How we got Vince to allow him to do what he wanted there? Birth of NXT. I'm very glad to have you guys. We are wrapping up SmackDown at this point. Sami Zayn bigging up Jey Uso, who is, shall we say, unresponsive. Unresponsive. Megan says, because if there was no pandemic, Roman wouldn't have left when he did. Then there wouldn't have been the big return he had, which led to him being questioned about it, which led to the Heyman reveal and cementing the heel turn. There were definitely big changes happening. I'm not going to do a what if, because I've seen a lot of people do what ifs as well, and Roman Reigns is what a lot of what ifs focus on. But there's a lot of good stuff there. A lot of good stuff. Yeah, the HBK video will be massive, I absolutely tell you that. Thank you, Traffic. Appreciate that. I'm wrapping it up there. It is nearly 3 a.m. I've been streaming for over 2 hours. You will see me again on Monday for spoiler warning, if there isn't any particular breaking news before then. And of course, I will start doing research, doing some early scripts on some of these videos. I can't tell you which one's going to be first. I very much can't tell you which one's going to be first. But I'm definitely going to look into it a bit deeper, put more together, and see what happens. I also potentially could ask for some help from Gleb on that one. We could do some sort of collaboration on that, or just find myself a researcher. I'm sure I have people who are willing to help out. We could compile some information on the Discord. We have some options. Enjoy Rampage, Megan. I'm going to wrap it up there. Say a huge thank you, as per always, to everyone who continues to support, even just with your time. Thank you, everyone. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. And I'll see you all very soon.